Hey guys, in this one I will be making a melody again. You guys are asking me for more advanced stuff. I don't really know how to make it much more advanced, just using like music theory, because I basically just showed you what it was. I will go back into that in this one, but mostly in the next one I think, if I do make another one. But I know I did make a tutorial on this, but that was like my second tutorial ever. But I'm going to be showing you the 1/3 positioning. It's just kind of like a different way of placing all your notes, and it's kind of like you're rejecting everything you might have learned on the piano roll and making your hi-hats and everything. You're kind of rejecting all that. You're just throwing it out, and you're using this new positioning, and it can be kind of confusing at first, but you'll understand why it's very useful. And like this is used all the time for hardstyle. Like if you're making hardstyle, this is basically what you should be using for your melodies. And jump style as well, I think uses it. Some dance music, like DJ Manian. I'm sure a lot of you know him. He uses that, and so does Bass Hunter. But I shouldn't be saying this, but maybe in some dubstep. I don't know. I should be saying that. It can be used at occasion, on occasion, and it can be fun to kind of mess around with. And you can even use both positionings throughout your song. You could have one part of your song where it's normal position, and then the next part would be like, or next section would be like the 1/3, which I'm about to show you right here. So go into your magnet, and you want to hit 1/3 step, 1/3. So you want to hit that. I'm sure you're all familiar with this note right here. This is the 1/8 note. You can fit you can fit 8 of them in one full measure, which is up to that darker line. Now, just forget that note. That note, just pretend it doesn't even exist. All right. What you want to do is, since you're on 1/3, you'll see that it's a lot less strict on where it locks on. In other words, you can stretch this note out. I guess I'll zoom in a little bit. It should go right up to here, I think. You can stretch this note out 3 times, and you'll see it'll hit the line right there. If I zoom in a little bit, you'll see it hits like halfway, but really it wants to hit that line. So in other words, you can stretch it out 3 times, and it'll hit that kind of lighter line throughout the grid. Now that's not necessarily the note that we're looking for. What we're looking for is one before that. So this is so hard to explain, but like you want to take this and you want to stretch it out twice pretty much, and there you go. If you want to get the same zoom as me, by the way, on the piano roll, just hit 2, the number 2 on your keyboard, and that kind of zooms you into this. But yeah, so that's like your new 1/8 note, and if I take those, pile them up, you'll see it still lasts as that entire measure, and you can have 6 of them. And that sounds really off, and it kind of is, but if I take a kick, you can just understand how like almost swingy that is, and that's the whole point. You want to have that kind of swingy feel and rhythmic feel. So that's like your new 1/8 note. It's like a 1/6 note. So yeah, how do you get that? Take the 1/8 and then just stretch it out for 2 steps, and there you go. Now I'm sure you're all familiar with this note here. That's the 1/16. You can fit 16 in one measure, which is this right here, this space. Yeah, forget that too. This is your new 1/16, and you just stretch it out once. So there, once, and you can probably fit, I don't know, 12, I'm guessing, because that only makes sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, 12. So that's your 1/12. And you'll notice that you can put that right next to each other, and it makes a quarter measure. So you can kind of have 1/6 note and then 1/12 note after each other, like this. Now I'm going to take away the piano. So you can just, I don't know, take another lead without reverb or anything, so you can kind of hear how it sounds. I'll just shorten it so that you can really hear it. But yeah, you can kind of see how swingy that sounds. And a lot of popular producers will use this, but this is mostly for hardstyle. So I know I use this for my one preset here. In that one preset video I made, this is one of the presets, and I guess we should be using that because it's hardstyle inspired, but it can use for a lot of other stuff. I just generally like that lead, not just because I made it, but you know, I think it's just better than some of the Nexus ones, so we could just be using that. Alright, so those are all that's basically your new notes. If I take away these notes here, that's your new offbeat. You know, you remember this was your offbeat. Like this would be your bass line. Well, not anymore. This is your bass line. Alright, so if I make a melody now, I'll go a little bit faster, like a hardstyles tempo, so 150. So I'll make my bass line first. So you want to make it so that when you got this 1/12th note, to make it that it kind of hits the end of the quarter measure. And I'll probably make the most simple style, I guess, of these kind of melodies possible. So so let me see. We got C for the first quarter, or first measure, I mean. And then go down to G sharp, and then G, and G. Should we do that? I mean, I'm trying to keep it simple, and I think we did that in the last one. I'm not sure. Kind of forgot. So what we do now that we got our bass line, is you just basically want to fill out the empty spots with the melody. So remember this, that was like our preferred notes, and we don't even have to go with that, but you know, it's one of the 3 notes that I tend to start off my melodies with. So if I start off with D sharp, I just stretch it out until like all the space between these 2 red notes are there's just no space in between them. So it sounds like that. And because we're hitting the G, because we're hitting the G, we can hit just the natural B, because, well, I don't really know the theory behind it. I just know it works in minor scales like this. Now if I go a little bit more complicated, I'm just going to start putting notes the way I normally would. I know some people just want to see me do it and not really talk as much, so here I go. I have no idea, I'm not even ready, so I guess I'll just improvise. I will stay in C minor though. Now you'll realize that when you take those 1/12 notes, you can put it in a quarter measure like this. Now I'm just copy and pasting that, and I can change the bass line. Now you're going to realize that we're going C for the first measure, B flat for the half measure, and then A flat for the second half of the measure, and that's totally fine if you want to do it that way. But you notice I'm only using two different lengths of notes, the 1/6 and the 1/12. And go up to D sharp. Actually, I might change that for the sake of the melody sounding good. So yeah, I'm just gonna stay on the A sharp, or the G sharp, A flat. So I just got my kick ready that I made the other day, and I presetted just about everything, all the distortion and stuff, which is right there. Well, no, that's not all distortion. The three top ones are, and I just EQ'd it pretty quick, but you can see how this works for hardstyle when I actually get the kick. I know the melody isn't that great. And everything. I don't have like an extra punch or anything like that, but you know, it's fine. Come on, my mouse is just being ridiculous. Alright. Let's turn that up. Let's make another one. How about? So we'll just use chords this time. So first note will be C again. So we move that one down. So again, I'm just using the same 3 notes I showed you in the last tutorial. Just slightly different. I'm using G, B flat, and then D sharp on the top scale, or top octave, higher octave. So this right here is like my harmony. This would be like the melody notes. And this also is just the intervals, part of the chord. And so that people actually hear that we're kind of switching, I'm just going to reduce the length of these notes here. And it doesn't really matter if you do that, as long as they're in the same, or at the same position. The length of the notes don't really matter as much. Now since I'm going up to G, I'm thinking we could go for the harmony or the bass line notes, which is the ones underneath here. I think we'll bring that up to D sharp, so we'll be going up first. And just because I know that D sharp works well with G as the melody note. And we could definitely change these notes here, but because I know G is here and B flat is the perfect fifth of D sharp, I just generally know that this will all kind of get along, but we could change it if we needed to. I think it'd sound good if we kind of kept that going, so we'll just kind of repeat that. How about we just keep on repeating that? And I know that F sounds nice when it's under the G sharp, and this is all just because I messed around with it and I just kind of remembered what sounded good when I had my left hand on one note and my right hand on the other. In other words, harmony F, G sharp is the melody note. Now I know that perfect fifth of F is C, so I'm gonna have a 1 C there, and major third, or is it minor? Huh. No, it's perfect fourth, sorry. Perfect fourth is B flat, or we could do D, I think, but I'll just go with B flat. So the only notes we're actually adding so far is the C and the G sharp off those 3 notes that I showed you in the last tutorial. And what's good about these kind of melodies is you can layer other melodies on top of them, and these are so fun to work around with, and they're usually quite catchy, and you can mix it around a lot as well. It's very easy to mix these melodies around. Now I'm going to do something different for the last measure, so you can keep on going up, or you can actually go down if you want. So let me see what it sounds like if I went down. I'm actually going to go lower. I'm going to go to the G sharp or the A flat, see what it sounds like. Move that to C. D sharp. I just know that the G sharp, then the D and the, the G sharp, the C, and the D sharp is a chord that works well together. So that's why I'm just putting it down there. But I wouldn't have to always put it like that. You get different sounds when you mess around with the notes. Let's just say I went with that. I'm not going to mess around with it too much, and I could copy paste that over and do something different on the other end. But you know, I don't really want to do that for the tutorial. So I'm just going to put the harmonies down on the kick. C being our first note, and I'm just going to put it back on cell just because it's a bit easier. My mouse. Now I'm going to copy paste that. It's all the same except this one note down here. So everything in the bass line is the same for the entire melody except for the last measure. It goes down to G sharp. The last thing I want to mention before we keep going is when you're making your hi-hats, so say I have a closed one and an open one. And this is very, very important. I can't believe I haven't mentioned it yet. Say you got a kick. You know, when you do your hi-hat, or your open hi-hat, you're going on the offbeat, right? Well, remember what I said about the offbeat not really being where you thought it was? Well, that kind of goes for the hi-hat as well. So you got to open the hi-hat on the piano roll by right-clicking on the thing and going into piano roll. So yeah, right-click on the channel, and you want to move that to the side twice, and then you want to kind of make it look like that, just like the way we had it. And now you know it sounds very swingy and whatnot, and that's what you want generally. And let's say you had your open hi-hats doing this, or your closed hi-hats doing that. That sounds really like messed up, and that's because you're using the 1/8 notes. And remember what we said about the 1/8 notes, or the 1/16 notes, they don't work anymore. We got the 1/12 instead, so we got to replace those. And there you go. And it's kind of complicated when you got like a more complex beat going, but you know, if you can kind of master that, then you're pretty much golden. So we'll just listen to the melody and then we'll be good to go. I hope you guys learned something, and excuse the fact that I'm horrible at explaining a lot of this stuff.